everybody, and welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory for their 50th season. We weren't originally even going to do this one this year, but then when we saw, it's their 50th year, that's ridiculous. So we're like, we have to do it for the 50th year. We have to go there and check it out. Because I think the last time we checked it out was 2020 or 2021. I'm not sure.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a minute. They were part of the Haunted House documentary we did many years ago at this point. It's just still free on YouTube. Haunt Behind the Scare is what it's called. Which is kind of fun that we did that actually, because since then it's been bought up by the same people who own the Factory of Terror. So it has changed a lot. Some for better, some for worse. Which we'll get to the review. But yeah, also in Akron is Ghoul Brothers. We just did a review for that. And if you're watching this when it came out, the giveaway should still be going on if you're watching it pretty much at release. So we have a giveaway for Ghoul Brothers. Make sure you go watch that review to find more out about that. Before we get into the review, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Make sure you're checking out our merch store to see some cool stuff we're trying to sell you. It'd be pretty cool if you buy that. Helps support us. Shirts, stickers, all kinds of crap. I don't know. Check out the Patreon. That would be pretty cool. Because, yeah, going to these places is expensive. That being said, it's time to get into the review, which as always means we must refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Stats and props. That's the first thing we talk about, so we're going to talk about that now.
Alright, so, of course, schoolhouse is in a big old school. Laboratory. In a big old laboratory.
Now, the schoolhouse does have school theme, but it's not the entire thing. Where the lab, the majority of it is lab theme.
Yeah. Yeah, so, the schoolhouse, it actually had a really cool entrance this year where you actually, kind of go underneath, a bookshelf, which was really neat.
Yeah, that one's cool, because it used to be, giant pages hanging everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the first room is like a schoolhouse, and then after that, it just kind of does whatever it wants. I think right after that, you go in... There's, the attic, which is a classic scene, which is a really cool scene. I do remember going back... this is one of the earlier haunts of my childhood, and it's came a long way, but I just remember going to this one, and this is one of the first haunted houses where I'm like, this is, really cool scenes. And I always remember being specifically impressed with the attic scene here. I mean, it still holds up today. Because it has a whole thunderstorm going on. I think there might be curtains blowing in the wind in there and stuff, which is cool.
Mine was always the Dracula's Castle. It was always my favorite.
I like that one too. I don't know why there's something about the attic I really maybe just the realism of it.
Yeah.
Dracula's Castle is cool, but it's more stylized, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's something big too that they did when the Factory of Terror bought them over, is they opened up a lot of the scenes. Because Schoolhouse used to be you were legitimately behind a railing.
Yeah.
For most scenes. I know they started opening up some stuff towards the end of the old owners, but Factories basically, they've blown out all of that and you walk through the scenes now.
Yeah. So it did look like there was a few maybe different scenes in there. There was a very large area with pumpkins and big pumpkin monsters and stuff like that.
There's so many animatronics in this place.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
There's a really cool mannequin room, I rember. That was around the attic area. Yeah,
that was really... Because I thought it was funny because the one mannequin was, being held against the wall, those little metal, not a... I guess it's kind of like a zip tie or something. And I just noticed that their arm was being held up on the wall with one of those. And I was just like, that's weird. Yeah. But that was a really cool room. Yeah. There was a dark hallway that was really neat that had the dark ride stuff.
Yeah,
it very old school, very cool, kitschy kind of vibe with that.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I will say surprisingly, because it's one of our complaints of Factory of Terror is that there's too many dark hallways. This place doesn't really have that much. There's one or two throughout the entire experience. And I actually really like this dark hallway because of the fact that there is a lot. There was random, surprise, animatronic scares because, a little window would light up and there was, a little scene. Another thing this place did a lot was, two-way mirror effects where you'd walk up, then a light would come up and there'd be something on the other side of, that.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
They did have a really cool scare that was in there that, you were in a dark hallway and this very bright light just shined on you and it just blur, like it totally like whited you out, and then of course you're back in the black hallway, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I can't see anything. Like I grabbed him because I'm like, I can't see anything. He probably couldn't see either, but it was very effective though.
They have that really cool tilt room, which is the first haunt I ever saw that in. So basically, I don't exactly understand how it's built, but the whole room is like weight dependent. So if you go to this side, the whole thing goes like this. And they have barrels that roll around. The only other haunt that I think I've been to is 100 Acre Manor that has this.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other haunts out because there's lots of haunts, but this is the only two that I've been to that has it. But I remember like this has been there for a while now because
it's one of the original
filmed that.
things.
Yeah, and they still do have some original stuff like the big old troll. That's still there, but a lot of it has been changed. So they have some of the classic scenes, but a lot of it has been changed. One of the classics that's still there is there's like a graveyard scene, which is a unique graveyard scene because it's like, I guess it's a graveyard. I think it's a graveyard. Or is it a mine?
I think it's a graveyard.
Because
there's coffins sitting up and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a graveyard. But anyways, you like walk onto like a hill and you're on like a bridge and there's all the dirt around you and you like kind of go through the hill and come out the other side.
Yeah.
That's really neat. They did change the basement quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's always been kind of a culty down there. Mm-hmm. But now it like still enters kind of the same way. And the worm, there's like a worm that comes out of the water that's notorious for not working.
The worm was working.
It was working.
I was so excited when I saw him pop up. I'm like, the worm is working.
I was impressed that like almost every animatronic was working. There were some puppets that were inactive just because there weren't actors manning them, which of course we'll get to that specific point in actors. But they did have some cool puppets though, for sure. But yeah, the basement was cool because like after that, it seemed very different because there was like this really cool looking like satanic church.
Yeah.
And there is lit really cool. And then after you leave the church, there's a giant Satan, giant like Bahamut thing. They still have the skull thing, which is actually the thumbnail for the haunt behind the scare, but the waterfall, blood coming out of its mouth. Because they kind of had it like you used to walk close to that, but now it's just kind of back behind where like this actor and other stuff was, which that kind of made me sad. But I did like the addition of the Satan Church and the Satan. Because if I remember right, that used to be a boiler room. Because specifically remember an actor used to pop out of the boiler.
Yes.
So I think that's where the church is now.
I think you're right, yeah.
I think, it definitely seemed like a lot was changed. The lab is cool. I like the schoolhouse better because the lab sticks to lab theme a lot, which is fine. You got some like monkeys in cages, and there's like a baby in that cage too.
He might be a little monkey though, because he looked a little furry. But
there's a really cool Bigfoot prop.
That Bigfoot prop was cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool animatronic.
It was huge. And then he ripped there was a guy in a lab coat and he had him in his hand and he ripped him apart.
Yeah.
And it was like,
gnarly.
That's really gnarly.
Yeah, it's probably like one of my favorite like animatronics they had. I don't know why Bigfoot was in a lab ripping someone apart, but it was cool. There's really cool it was a cool spider room, but I feel like it needed a little something because so it's like this weird room that it's all covered in spider webs, and you walk up these stairs and around and then back down through the middle of the room, and then you just kind of leave. Yeah. There was like an actor down there, but it felt like instead of an actor, there should have been like a giant animatronic or like spider like coming at you or something. Yeah. I just don't understand what the point of walking up these stairs and meandering around was.
Yeah, no, it was really weird. Because I thought, wasn't that it used to be the bungee room? Didn't they have those crow men in there before?
Yes, there did used to be crow men.
And they had somebody on a bungee. Yeah, and I was expecting somebody to pop up and nothing happened, and I was like... Yeah,
it was weird. It was like the room was designed that way for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was cool because all the spider webs, but I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then there were some aliens. They have this cool observation room with so it's themed to like that, an observation room like in an old school hospital.
Yeah.
And they even have like, it makes it look like it's like slightly daylight outside because there's like windows around that glow. And there's like an animatronic that's scalping someone in the middle, so that's what's being observed as he's like ripping someone's head off type of thing. And of course, something that this place is very famous for is the giant Tesla coil. And it is still scary. You know you're fine, but you are like in a rounded cage and you walk around Tesla coils, it shoots lightning at you.
Yeah.
Like real lightning.
It's still really unnerving.
It's so loud too. I close my ears because it'll deafen you.
Yeah.
The vortex tunnel, which I always really liked the vortex tunnel. it's not working, I guess, and it feels like it hasn't been working for a while because they just have like one of those like lasers pointing at you in there.
Yeah. It was kind of disappointing because they always had a really good laser.
Right, because it used to be
vortex.
like, it's a black vortex tunnel. I think there's like with holes and lights on the outside, so it looks like just stars are rotating around you, which really actually was a little bit dizzying with the way it was done.
Yeah.
So I was a little sad that wasn't working. And there was like a small outside section. It was raining when we went there, so nothing really happened in it. It's a very small section. There's like an ambulance and some pallets you walk around in.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably maybe a chainsaw person or something. That probably
but it was
out
muddy
there,
and mucky out there.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the sets and props are very impressive in this place. Like I said, there's just a couple little things that are like, well, that's kind of strange. But for the most part, really, really cool. And I think that this place will be worth going for a lot of people just to see the sets and props that they have. And there's just so much history in this place. I mean, it's 50 years old.
Right.
But we gave it a 9.5 for sets and props.
So that moves us on to actors. Now, mind you, we did go on a Sunday. So we kind of gave them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there. But they need some more actors.
Yeah, it was very light on actors. And there was a group, I don't know what, I mean, so part of this isn't the Haun's fault, part of it is, they sent a group of I don't know, it was definitely over 10 people.
Yeah.
I would say close to 20 people all in together, and there was 10 kids, kids with them.
Yeah.
And they just didn't, I'm sorry, but if I'm someone that's working and I send, a giant group and I'm going to then space the next group out a little further, but we were basically told just, go in as soon as she rambled off the, don't touch the actors, they won't touch you type of stuff. And it's okay. And so, I constantly had to stop and, it was kind of fun because the people that were supposed to be in front of us stopped and put us in front of them because they didn't want to be behind these people. And I'm like, oh, cool. Which, they weren't doing anything obnoxious. They were just, a bunch of kids. And they should have spaced us out a little bit more for that. But even that being said, there just really wasn't very many actors in here. And a lot of them that were there didn't really try and scare us. There's so many that, I think were trailing the giant group because they were a giant group, that they came to us and instead of trying to scare us, they would just, stand aside and let us go by. Or just kind of, head nod. Or just, do nothing.
Yeah, it was
and it's at least interact with us if you've already missed the scare. So the few scares that would have been there, even with the light amount of actors, we didn't get that. I would say, yeah, because the first haunt's 20 minutes. I would say in the schoolhouse, out of the 20 minutes we were in there, I probably only got 3-ish jump scares from actors.
Yeah.
Everything else was just under the group in front of us, or they just kind of waiting for us because we ended up conga lining with a bunch of people. So it's just unfortunate, but we kind of try and take that in consideration. But again, there just wasn't enough actors, even if we would have been alone.
Yeah.
Just a lot of dead space. But it was a Sunday. There were some good ones. The bookshelf guy, that was a cool scare. Because, when you first enter, Kim said, you walk under the bookshelf, and there's actually a hole in the bookshelf where a guy can, yell at you.
Yeah.
So he's, up in the ceiling a little bit, and then there's, another place right in the same room where he can get you.
That was really cool. One that I really liked, of course, in Dracula's castle.
This was probably the best scare, and I didn't get it, but Kim did, so that's
I
good.
did. Okay, so you walk around the corner, and there's a female vampire animatronic. Well, standing right next to it was a male vampire. And the female vampire animatronic went off, and the male vampire went off too, but it was a real person. He pretended to be an animatronic, and he timed himself with that female one. So when she lunged, he lunged, but then he came further because he was actually a real person. And I just was really impressed with that.
Because he was done up to look fake, too.
He looked fake. He looked like a very generic vampire, makeup and stuff like that. And he looked kind of plasticky, like the animatronics are. And it was just phenomenal. It was definitely a thumbs up for me. It was a really good scare.
They had some boo pedals, which was cool too. They didn't have a ton, but I like that they're incorporating some of that new age scare stuff. There was one boo pedal in the lab that gave me a bit of a scare, as the boo pedal went off and she comes running out with a whistle in her mouth. So that was fun. I know there was one other boo pedal person that got me, because the boo pedals are just cool because there's a loud noise, and that's why if you're in Columbus, for example, is so effective, because you do kind of get conga lined in there, but they have the room separated, and it's so loud that you still get got. It's very Halloween Horror Nights-y, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice to see that. And I'm thinking they might need to do more of those type of scares at this place.
Yeah.
If they're going to continue, because they were busy. We did get fast passes, and it was a Sunday, so I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was
in a
really
rainy,
surprised.
rainy, gross
Yeah.
night. But I mean, yeah, this is only the second week in October too, and they were busy on this Sunday.
Yeah, they were really busy.
But like I said, yeah, some of the actors are okay, but a lot of them just seemed like a little bit like unsure of their role and stuff like that. Almost none of them interacted with us. Like, not many talked to us in any way. I mean, even like the girl in the church, when she looked really cool, she kind of just like stood up on there and just kind of looked back and forth and just stood there, like not really like snarling or like trying to be intimidating. Just kind of looking for that a little more, I guess.
Yeah.
Costuming was cool for a lot of them, though.
Yeah.
I will say that a lot of them had good costuming and stuff. But for actors, we gave them a 6.75.
So, moving on to scare factor. Like we said, there was some good scares. Some good jump scares just from animatronics, which is surprising because usually those don't do much. But the way they had them positioned, they actually were really well done. This place is fairly gory, especially like the lab,
yeah.
because it's a lab, so there's a lot of gross experimentations and such like that going on.
Yeah. It is family friendly. I mean, they even have like special kids ticketing pricing and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of kids there. So it's not overly scary. Again, there were jump scares, but none of the actors, at least with us, really tried to interact with us too much, intimidate us, follow us. So, I mean, except for us, it was pretty light on the scares. Now, I have been to this place when it has been a lot more. And again, the actors, so it's hard to judge how scary it would be if they're more adequately staffed on a certain night, but we can only grade on what we saw. And the scare factor wasn't real high for us this night. We gave it a 6.5, based off of what we experienced in the scare factor scale. But I mean, I will say, like I said, even as I was okay with this place when I was a younger kid, like it scared me, but But like, for example, and again, I always use like Chippewas as the baseline for like something that's, in my opinion, a terrifying haunt. I don't think I could have done that as a kid. I think that would have maybe, like, I'm glad I didn't go to that one as a kid, because I feel it would have been like, I'm not doing haunted houses.
I'd be sitting in the car or in the parking lot.
Even without Touch Fast, I'm just like, no. But this is like that like old school Halloween fun. And it's a good mix of like gross and like more classic like Halloween scares, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good one to take the kids to, which the people in front of us sure did.
All of them.
Woo! All right. So value time. This is one of those haunts that has, well, they have a whole board of pricing. So Fridays and Saturdays are $32, unless it's a peak night. Then it's $37. Sundays and Halloween, $27. Kids under 17 are only $20. I think that's every night, as far as I could tell. Which that right there, I'd say that's actually a pretty good deal.
It is a good deal.
Anyone under 17 is only 20.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to be 17 or under. Well, it says under 17, so 16 or under, that are going to be going with their parents. So that saves a lot of money for that. Fast Pass, in my opinion, is very reasonable. It's $12.
Yeah.
And that's Fast Pass for both haunts. I would highly recommend getting it. It was wild. No one else had a Fast Pass when we were there.
Yeah.
There was no one else in front of us in either haunt.
Surprised.
We walked into both. And I mean, the line, especially this line for Schoolhouse, is always longest. I think you kind of have to do Schoolhouse first.
Yeah.
Because you had like a big tent outside that was full, and then the whole like gym area queue was pretty full.
Yeah.
We probably would have been in line for an hour or more at least.
Oh, at least.
And we didn't wait at all. So yeah, Fast Pass, $12, worth it. Schoolhouse took us 19 minutes to get through. The lab took us about 17. And Schoolhouse, I will say, probably would have been a little less. But I mean, I was walking at snail's pace.
Yeah, we were turtling it through
because
there.
of the group in front of us, because we just kept running into them, yeah. So I would say realistically, it's probably also more like 17.
Yeah.
Which is weird. As big as these buildings are, you think they're going to be these crazy long haunts. And they're like decent length, but they're not insanely long. Because like they advertise 4 floors like for the lab, but like the last floor in the lab is like 2 minutes long.
Right.
It's like the Tesla coil scene. And there's like 1 or 2 small scenes after that.
Yeah.
And basement.
Yeah, there's like an alien scene, and then that's
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that's a total of 36 minutes. So this one, ranges. We gave it an 8 with an asterisk, I guess, because I feel like if you go on Sunday for 20 or 27, that's more of like a 9 for how long. But if you're paying 37, that's more of like a 7. And kids is almost like a 10.
Yeah.
Paying $20 for this much haunt, that's great value. But that's only if you're a certain age. And Fast Pass is reasonable, so that's where like 8, because it's kind of in the middle of all those scores.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just check whatever night you're going before you go, I guess, to see if it's a peak night or not. But that brings us to our overall score, which we gave it a 7.5. Sets and props definitely seems like it's improved, but everything else in our experience, like with actors and stuff, I mean, they mainly just with actors, was just fairly weak-ish the night we went.
Yeah.
So, and again, your experience, as with anything, may vary. That's just our experience when we went. But yeah, have you been there? What was it like when you went? Comment below. Let us know all those things. Make sure you like and subscribing. Also, make sure you're ringing the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you very much for watching.
Bye.